Good evening, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmad Nawaz. The T20 World Cup is underway in the UAE and Oman. We've had some exciting encounters already, whether they were the warm-up games or the games of round one. It's been very interesting. We'll be talking all about this in tonight's show and moving on to some other things as well. In studios, we've been joined by sports expert Ali Mehdi. Assalamu alaikum Ali, how are you?
Welcome, Sam. I'm very well, Ahmed.
Good to have you on the show. We've also been joined by senior sports journalist Abdul Ghaffar. Ghaffar, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Sports Extra.
Walaikum Assalam. Thank you so much.
Right, talking about the games, and as we've discussed that, the round one games are underway as well, but at the same time, we know Pakistan is also playing a warm-up match against South Africa, which will be Pakistan's second warm-up fixture, because we know that in the first warm-up fixture, they were able to defeat the West Indies, and it was very important to see that Pakistan was in top form in all the forms of the game. It was, of course, batting, bowling and fielding clinking off at the very right time. Now, the pro tees tonight is definitely very important in order to get some further combination. Ali Mehdi, how did you find that very first warm-up game when we talk about Pakistan defeating the West Indies?
Well, I thought it was a good practice match for Pakistan. I mean, I thought especially the bowlers actually got a good tryout against the West Indies. I thought the West Indies, being the defending champions too, I thought they played very well. But at the same time, the Pakistanis did very well to contain them. Didn't let them, get off the loose. Didn't let them get off to a big total too. I thought all the bowlers bowled very well. I thought Hassan Ali was very good. Shaheen Shah a bit expensive too, but got the wickets. Haris Rauf towards the end was a bit expensive, but I thought the spinners were very good. And look, in this tournament, it's all about the spinners. You know that the wickets over here in the UAE are going to be slow. They're going to be turning, and then at the same time, they're going to be very effective too. So overall, I thought Ahmad bowled very well too, Shadab too, and then Hafiz also bowled probably an over too. So overall, a good exposure by the bowlers too. But then also the batsmen too. I thought Babar was exceptional once again, and then Fakhr also getting some runs too. So overall, I thought it was a good run out for both our batsmen and our bowlers.
Ghaffar, how did you find that first warm-up game against the West Indies for Pakistan? Do you think that some of the questions regarding the combinations Pakistan is going to go with have been answered?
I think Pakistan have a great game, as you mentioned, because Pakistan definitely won the game quite easily. It's good for the morale. But in my opinion, a game like we had against West Indies might not be a good practice for two reasons. First reason, obviously, West Indies didn't look at their best. So obviously, I can't see them performing like that regularly in the World T20. Definitely, I think they will come back harder. So, if you know the reason of the warm-up and obviously the practice matches is something which give you two freedom. One is obviously your batsmen, your bowlers have some practice of before the World T20 and maybe before any event. Secondly, the pressure they felt in that sort of match is help you to perform better when you obviously playing in the main round. So I think it's great to Pakistan obviously. Nothing take away from Pakistan. Our bowlers did a fantastic job. We restrict them for 130. Then we batted very superbly and chased down the target quite easily. But I think Pakistan might need a practice game like India, Australia playing against each other today, and then obviously India and England played the same day. Pakistan played their first practice match where India able to chase down 189. They were put under pressure by the England. Obviously, then England playing superbly. They scored 188. So I think muscle flexing is missing in the Pakistan first match. I think I'm expecting a tougher match today because South Africa obviously I think will be better prepared for this match because they also played their first match in the practice matches scenario. So I think it's going to be interesting and see how Pakistan can perform under lights, as your guest mentioned that definitely spinners are going to be very crucial. But Ali, on the same time, the Q factor can be a very, very difficult and very different sort of experience for the captain as well because every team have 2-3 spinners. But imagine if the Q factor scenario is arriving here, it is going to be very interesting.
That's very important that we see Pakistan getting in form, not just in scenarios where they find it easy, but even in difficult circumstances, they're able to come out of that as well. Ali Mehdi, the game in perspective is the game against India on the 24th, which is the big encounter, not just for Pakistan, but for the World Cup itself. It's a very high stakes game. India are looking in prime form currently as well. They're absolutely hammering Australia, as we were discussing before the show as well. They had a good stint against England. Their players look in form. We understand that they're going to come out with an aggressive strategy. What does Pakistan need to do now?
Well, Pakistan, before they actually look towards that India match, they actually have to play very well in that match, in their practice game against South Africa. This is their last chance saloon for them to actually see which combinations will work very well for them, which bowlers they can actually play, what is their best 11 at the same time. It will be good if South Africa test Pakistan well today, test them to the limit. See how Pakistan plays against South Africa's spinners, right now. I think South Africa have got two quality spinners in the form of Maharaj and Shamsi, who I think is probably one of the best left-handed spinners in the world right now. And then against, Norkaya, Ngidi, Rabada too. How Pakistan's batsmen are going to fare against them. And then at the same time, test their bowlers against South Africa.
Would you like to see Pakistan batting first and defending a total for one?
I would see Pakistan want to bat first, and then at the same time, look, if Pakistan bat first, then they're going to be playing in Duke, and if there's going to be dew tonight, then we can see how Pakistan is going to see how they're going to tolerate the dew tonight. So it will be good. Pakistan needs to test themselves under extreme conditions today, because once they come in against India, they're going to be a wreck of nerves against India too. So it's important that they test themselves today, so that once they go against India, they are well and mentally prepared, because it's going to be a game of nerves. It's going to be a game of mental strength against India, not of skill.
Ghaffar, what would you like to say about the fact that Pakistan's main strength has always been their bowling? Now, if we talk about the match against West Indies, then Shaheen and Haris Rauf became expensive. Haris Rauf is generally expensive, but then he picks up wickets. That's his case. But at the same time, it's been a lot easier for Pakistan when Shaheen has been good in an economy rate. But if both our bowlers, the prime bowlers, are going for very expensive runs, then what should Pakistan do?
I think, in my opinion, Pakistan have a great, solid opening pair. Obviously, Babar and Rizwan. Then we have experience of Sheikh Malik and Hafiz. But only department where I think Pakistan lack bit of quality and bit of experience and maybe bit of threatening for the opponent, I think it's surely going to be our spin bowling department. I know Shaheen and Haris and maybe Hassan Ali can be expensive, but I think they are quality operators. Especially Hassan and Shaheen proved themselves many times that they are quality operators. Is reaching the heights as a number one T20 bowler, number one Test bowler. Obviously, in the Hassan Ali case, he was the number one ODI bowler. But in the form of Pakistan's spin attack, I think Pakistan lacked a bit of X factor here. Maybe Shadab Khan, people expecting too much from him, but his form in the recent past is not that good. He considers himself as an all-rounder right now, but obviously his main job will be take wickets and obviously trouble the opponent. And obviously then Imad Wasim, I think he is also not regular in the last 1 or 2 years. He was dropped from the Pakistan limited over side. And then obviously we have but only plus thing in the Pakistan spin department, that could be Mohammad Hafiz, because as a batsman he's struggling. That is something else we can discuss on. But I think as a bowler he has a phenomenal record against the left-hander, and especially against the non-Asian teams. If we're going to play against the likes of New Zealand, maybe in the knockout stages, if teams like South Africa, maybe Australia can come. But in my opinion, Pakistan pace attack, I know they were expensive. Even Haris Rauf was going for 20 an hour against Kieron Pollard, but we know how Pollard can play. But my concern, maybe it's an unpopular sort of opinion, but in my opinion, Pakistan definitely need to up their game in the spin department. I think Pakistan lack one genuine spinner maybe there. We have a lot of sort of all-rounders option, but we might miss likes of Usman Qadir, who is a genuine leg spinner.
Definitely, just to give you an update right now about a game that was currently underway of the group stages. That is, of course, Group 1, in which Namibia has just beaten Netherlands by 6 wickets. And of course, they still had an over in hand. It's been a brilliant performance. David Wiese getting a 66 not out of 40 deliveries, followed by Gerard Erasmus 32 and Stephen Bard, who scored 19. I think this is a phenomenal victory for Namibia. Ali Mehdi, your thoughts on this?
I think it was a phenomenal victory look, this is the wooden spoon game of this group. I think the favorites from this group who are going to merge is Sri Lanka and Ireland. Everybody's predicted that Sri Lanka and Ireland are going to go through this game. But look, if Namibia are getting this win against Holland in their last group, if they can cause an upset too, then I think they've got a very good chance. I believe they'll be playing Ireland in their last game. And if they can beat Ireland, then they can get into that mix too. So a lot of permutations are actually possible, Ahmad. But at this moment of time, I think this is a huge victory for Namibia too. And they can cause, they upset the apple cart, if they win their last game. But I think from this group, group, Sri Lanka and Ireland are the prime favorites to go through.
Ghaffar, the associate nations have really impressed us this time. Talk about round one. There's so much excitement, and the main rounds have still not even started. Teams like Scotland, teams like we talked about Namibia right now, Netherlands, Ireland, and even Oman have really impressed us.
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of T20 cricket, Ali, because obviously in T20 cricket, any team can trouble or maybe challenge any team. And obviously, the Scotland, how they beat Bangladesh in the first match, I think they set the tone. And this is something I think we might witness even in the Super 12th round. Maybe a team like Afghanistan, and if Bangladesh can proceed, or maybe Ireland and Scotland, that they are playing superbly. So I think they can cause some pressure and obviously challenge for the main team. So I think it's a wonderful sign for cricket as well. I think ICC should be praised here because it's more than an easy decision to make round one before the main group of matches before the World T20. Even few people on the timeline seem so desperate, and they are saying, "No, yaar, the World Cup to 23 पे शुरू होगा," something. So I saw some of the tweets, but I think we should praise ICC here because they gave opportunity to the associate nation. And I think good marks to the teams like Namibia, Scotland, Netherlands, and some others. I think they truly deserve this opportunity, and I think it's so exciting to watch them play like this.
This in front of me that the team who is top in Group A and the team that is at number 2 in Group B will go on to Group 1 in the next round, and the team that is first in Group B and second in Group A will go on to the next round. So in any case, Pakistan is either going to be ending up with Bangladesh or Scotland, Ireland, whichever teams come in those groups. You've got to consider that these are not low-ranked teams anymore. They're going to bring the level of competition. And as Ghaffar mentioned, that in T20 cricket, it all becomes very exciting.
Look, in T20 cricket, anything is possible. We've seen what the associates did. The associates have been brilliant to this tournament. They add, an extra mix of, dynamism to this format too. They've been brilliant till now. I mean, you talk about the game when Scotland beat Bangladesh too. Yesterday, when Oman actually had a very good game against Bangladesh too. Namibia today too. So look, you cannot underestimate these associate teams. They are doing extremely well, and I think there's still some upsets which are going to come along the way. I still think that, looking at the current scenario, Scotland are definitely going to go through. They won 2 of their 2 games. Their last game, I believe, is against Oman, and they should actually beat them. But then it's interesting in this.
But that becomes a do or die. Whoever wins is going to qualify because the standings over there are according to run rate.
Yeah, according to net run rate too. So I think Scotland are in the prime seat right now too. So hopefully they'll go through. If their group winner, which is most likely going to be Scotland or Bangladesh, are going to come into Pakistan's group, and then on the other side, which is Group 2, and then on the other
Ireland
side,
probably.
Ireland, I think, is most probably. It's going to be clear tonight who wins from Sri Lanka, Ireland. Whoever wins that group whoever's going to win this game is actually going to go into Group 1, and the second team from this group is probably going to come into Group 2. So there are a lot of permutations possible right now. It's very difficult to predict, and this is the beauty of T20 cricket and of this qualifying format. And for that, I think ICC deserves a lot of credit.
A lot of credit indeed as well. But talking about the big game now, Pakistan versus India, Ghaffar, the question has probably been answered, but it will be confirmed on the 24th of Pakistan's batting lineup. Bringing Fakhar Zaman at number 3, do you believe that that's the exact way to go? Because Fakhar has been invested so much as an opener. Even if he's coming at number 3, which is understandable, is the perfect position. If he goes any lower than that, then it doesn't make sense.
It's a very tough call to make, and to be honest, we were very unfortunate. We hadn't played 10 matches. We were obviously planned against the New Zealand, obviously against the England. So those matches could have been very decisive about our planning for the World T20, especially the batting order you're talking about. I think you can understand the team management logic behind Rizwan and Babar as the opener because they played superbly. They are right now the most discussed opening pair in the World T20. Obviously, even the Indian media term them as a big threat for the Indian team on the 24th match. But in my opinion, Fakhar Zaman and that time when Shahid Khan were in the team during the West Indies tour, I think if they are in this 11, they should be playing in the opening slot. And in my opinion, still Pakistan can try out Fakhar Zaman as the opener because he is a specialist opener who can attack from the World Tour, and this is the World Cup where pressure will matter. I think if Fakhar Zaman can set the tone in the first 6 hours, I think Quaid-e-Azam at number 3 can definitely have this class carry on the momentum from that position. But I doubt that Fakhar Zaman can be as threatening as quality player he's as an opener, and then he obviously now they're playing at the number 3, and then obviously number 6 position. Ahmad, I'm very curious about how Pakistan will plan their middle order because he's not in good form. Shea Malik making a comeback. Asif Ali never performed in international cricket. Hazir Ali obviously in a great form. So I think a lot of questions to be answered, and maybe that this game against South Africa and the batting order we choose might give us some more hints about it.
Yeah, it indeed becomes a big mystery. Ali Mehdi likes that as well. But Ali Mehdi, Fakhar Zaman at number 3. Obviously, I'm pretty 200% sure they won't mess with Babar and Rizwan at the opening spot. But you got to have Fakhar at 3 because any lower than that, then what's the point?
There's no point. I would agree with Ghaffar bhai over here. I'd like him to open. I mean, I know the manager don't want to mess around with that opening spot, but look, what Fakhar's best position is opening, because opening he can get you quick runs, he can get you, he can attack from the word go, and at the same time his strike rate is.
But let's say if they don't do that, then what
then I think number 3 is perfect for him. And there's no point putting him below number 3. I think the main talking point is our middle order. Which batsmen are we going to play? Because I think Ghaffar bhai would agree that we all know our bowling lineup who is going to be bowlers, but that middle order, who is going to play in that middle order? And that's the real topic of conversation, whether you're going to put Haider Ali there, Shoaib Malik is going to be there, Asif Ali is going to be there, whether Hafiz is going to play. I mean, it's really a real conundrum over here, and that's what the team management need to sit down and
Ali Mehdi, the particular thing right now is that what we're seeing cricket from our opposition, that is India, it's been pure attacking cricket. Ishan Kishan got 70 in the warm-up game against England. Tonight, Rohit and everybody was
60.
taking the attack to them as well. So that means that it's going to be aggressive cricket. They're not going to consider the names. They're not going to consider anything. India's going to come with aggressive cricket. And we've seen in this World Cup so far in round 1 that when teams go on to the defensive side, they tend to struggle and lose the match. That's what happened with Oman last night against Bangladesh. They became a bit defensive in batting. They, as far as they were attacking, they were scoring at a good run rate. As soon as they got defensive, the run rate went up. They cracked under pressure. So for Pakistan and for the sake of Quaid-e-Azam as a captain, what's your strategy that you think should be implemented?
Look, the only way Pakistan can win this game against India is to attack them, to play extremely aggressive cricket. And look, you have to take risks against India because look, India are favorites going into this match, into this tournament too. They're highly favorites. But look, you have to play attacking cricket. You have to, you have to trouble that top order. And you have to wreck through that top order through. And that our bowlers have to bowl very well. We have to field very well. We have to bat very aggressively too. We have to be on top form. All of these 3 departments we have to be brilliant. And for that you have to play attacking cricket. So Quaid-e-Azam has to play fearless cricket and have a fearless sort of captaincy.
Right. Ghaffar, I know it depends on the conditions, but what would you like to see Pakistan doing if they win the toss against India?
Very tough. But I think depend on the condition as you mentioned. I think ideally, I think if you look around the stats we have on Dubai, on obviously Sharjah and Abu Dhabi wicket, I think batting first always a good option in my opinion. If you can put some runs on the board, and that definitely you can have a bowling night to defend. In my opinion, if no condition factor is involved, or maybe something about you, if you're mentioning right now, it's yet to see. But I think batting first after winning the toss and put some runs on the board, I think it's always a safe option and always something Pakistan always doing well about it.
Definitely, that's the case. Ghaffar bhai, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Extra. Always a pleasure having you. On that note, we'll go towards a short break, but when we come back, we'll be discussing football and the Champions League night. Welcome back to Sports Extra with me, Ahmad Nawaz. Time now to discuss Champions League football. It was an exciting night for football. We had some crunch games in studios. We've been joined by football youth coach and expert Sabeel Hazir. Assalamu alaikum, Sabeel. How are you?
Walaikum assalam, Ahmed. I'm good. Thank you for having me again.
We're still hanging on to Ali Mehdi as well, so we'll be discussing this further. But first game I'm going to be talking about is the Liverpool game. Sabeel, it looks like Jurgen Klopp is back to his winning days once again.
To be honest, I think we just judge him by too high a standard after those 2 seasons where he won the Champions League and the Prem. So, yeah, it seems like they're now grinding out results again as well, which is good to see. I think it was a very interesting game. I think it was obviously the best game of the night. It was expected to be as well. The styles, the way they both match up to each other. It was just an incredible game to watch. And I think Liverpool, even though they had the dominating share of possession and things, I think Atletico actually created the better chances, and Liverpool in some ways, that red card obviously helped them. In some ways they also maybe could have lost that game, and you need that kind of luck where things just go your way when you're winning trophies and things, and you want to win trophies.
Ali Mehdi, your thoughts?
No, I thought it was an exceptional game, easily the best game of the night too. It was a power-packed game. I mean, you saw Liverpool went, actually took the lead. They were 2-0 up. I think right now Salah is the best player in the world right now by the way he's playing. I'm a United fan, but obviously, it hurts me to say that, but Salah is undoubtedly the best player. He's performing in every format, should it be in the league or in the Champions League. But then after that, this Atletico Madrid came back, 2 goals by Griezmann, and then the red card too, and then they took the win at the end. So, I mean, Atletico Madrid actually did create the better chances, like Sabeel mentioned, but at the same time too, you have to give credit to Liverpool. Liverpool know how to grind out results. And look, this is the same team which knocked them out of the Champions League when they were defending champions a couple of seasons ago too. So overall, I thought it was an exceptional game. But Liverpool taking at the end of it taking the points, which means that they are 9 points out of 3 games. They're pretty much through, and now in this group of death, they are prime favorites to win the group.
Prime favorites indeed as well, and like we talk about the game and different dynamics that are involved there as well. Let's focus on Griezmann first. He's definitely got a point to prove himself now. He's been going through a patch where obviously his move to Barcelona, then back and everything involved, and now this red card. So all kinds of havoc on his mind.
I think, obviously the move to Barcelona didn't pan out the way anybody would hope it did. I think Simeone was also a bit sad to see his player become what he did. He used to say that about in interviews as well, how he was upset at the way Griezmann was being treated. So to bring him back to Atletico, you now start to see glimpses of the player that he once was, that he still is for France, by the way. So the second goal was brilliant. Obviously, the first one, there's a shot come in, there's a bit of chaos, he's touched it in. The second one, the way, all credit to Felix for creating that chance, beating players, driving with the ball, playing it to Griezmann, who then takes it past Van Dijk. This is Virgil van Dijk, and he makes it and Van Dijk seemed like a fish out of water. He was just caught on the turn. Such a deft little touch, and then a brilliant slide to finish it. So I think that was great. But perhaps because he had that point to prove, he got too pumped up in the second half and decided to go a bit WWE and big boot Firmino in the face. But it happens sometimes. Emotions get the best.
Well, it does happen, Ali Mehdi, but that was really not on the cards. Nothing expected like that.
No, it wasn't expected at all, and actually changed the flow of the game too. I mean, because of that, then Liverpool on the front foot too. They were 11 men to 10 men, so they had the advantage too. They were in the ascendancy, and then they actually took full advantage, actually grabbing the winner. I still think that if Griezmann stayed, they probably would have nicked it. They were playing the better football, but look, this is what happens in football. You need to keep your cool, you need to keep your discipline, and if you don't, you're going to get found out. And now losing at the Wanda Metropolitano, it's going to be difficult for Atletico Madrid, because it's a difficult group, and they have to also go to Anfield too. So it's going to be a difficult one for them too, and it's a difficult one for them to take.
Sabeel, a bit analyzing this technically now of the plans and the strategy of Simone against Klopp. Atletico have gone with their traditional 3-1-4-2, but if we talk about Liverpool, they came up with a 4-3-3, which they're very comfortable with. So how did you find these strategies?
So we knew it was going to be a fast-paced game because Liverpool play very fast and Atletico play on the counter. And Atletico are usually a very hard team to break down, but Liverpool got those 2 really quick goals. And what's interesting to see there is Atletico can play low possession football and be very clinical, but they're not used to going behind by more than a goal, especially that early on in the game. So what was interesting to see was within the first half, they made their 2-goal comeback. They made their first goal within 20 minutes or so. So they, within the same possession stats, if you look at the possession, they had about 20 or so % before they went back into the game, and had about 28 when they got back into it. So they just started, they were playing their game plan, which was to be direct, and they were just looking to get the ball and go forward. They didn't change their plan, and it was interesting to see a team that usually waits for teams to struggle to break them down and hit on the counter, to actually get broken down and go like, you know what, we're still going to hit you on the counter. And they got into the ascendancy. They had the 4 best chances of the first half. Felix and Griezmann had another chance which he should have scored. And that's all coming from the same thing, that counter-attack, that quick counter-attack, because Liverpool were playing on the halfway line pretty much when they had the ball.
Definitely, and looking at some other games as well, PSG also got back to winning ways as well. Ali, Mehdi, sort of a similar strategy that I saw. They were going with a 4-3-3 against Lepeg, which I personally found it hard to believe that they're going with a 3-5-2.
No, I find it hard too, but I actually thought that they actually played very well. I mean, Mbappe getting the first goal, Messi was phenomenal on the night too. Finally getting 2 goals too. He's finding his form, especially in the Champions League. You know, this is his favorite format. He's done exceptionally well over there. He scored against 37 different teams too. Playing extremely well, actually helping, linking with Mbappe too. No Neymar over here who's injured too, and linking very well with Di Maria was there too. Then at the same time, I thought they did very well, and Leipzig a very difficult team. They've done very well over the past few years in the Champions League too. Making the semi-finals, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of years ago too. So I think they did very well. Winning the game too, and it also gives them an advantage because this is a difficult group. You have Manchester City who on 6 points, they're on 7 points too. So they have that advantage. They'll want to win that group, and they have to rack up the points. And I thought they did very well on the night.
Sabeel, there's a layman's question, and you will analyze the game as well, I'm sure. But what people actually, some of the people believe is that why Messi was so successful at Barcelona, because he was the center of attention, and everything, every decision, every strategy revolved around him to support Messi. The players who were transferred, the players who were played, the formations and everything. While in PSG, plans are a bit different, and they're trying to adjust Messi into those plans rather than bring the plans to Messi.
That also all plays into the fact that Messi's been at Barcelona his whole teenage and adult life. He's been there forever. So he grew up playing that style pretty much in their academies once he was scouted, right, and brought to Catalonia. So the PSG is more of a superstar team. They buy superstars and they hope that those superstars can grind out results. Messi's a system player. He plays in a system, and when you put him in that system, he is it.
It's like the Avengers.
Yes, exactly. He is the guy. But obviously then you make that system. He's not another superstar player. He is the superstar player, and you build around him. Now, in what Leipzig did was playing that 5 in the middle and leaving 2 up front. We don't see teams leaving 2 up front very often because they get outnumbered in midfield. But with Messi playing in a team and Mbappe, usually there's Neymar there was Draxler last night, that there's not going to be that much tracking back, so you can leave 2 up front, and that 5 in midfield can cover. And the one time Messi came back, which was right before Mbappe's goal, he almost gave away a penalty. I think it should have been a penalty. So, that's what happens. And, Messi shouldn't be doing that. Why is Messi, lying down for walls? Why is Messi coming back? That's not Lionel Messi. I understand everybody has to play for the team, but he is a bit different. He is a special case, and you have to make adjustments for him.
Well, something that people would be a bit happy about is that finally Real Madrid are managing to up their game once again. So they got 5 goals against Shakhtar Donetsk, but at the same time, I think things are working for them.
Look, Donetsk is a very difficult place to go. Shakhtar Donetsk is one of the hardest places to go. For them to get 5 goals, show that they're in confident move, they're in supreme form right now. And yesterday I thought that, the Vinicius goal, the second one was probably the best goals I've seen in a while. He was in prime Ronaldo form, and I thought it was brilliant. All of them did very well. He got 2 goals, Benzema got a goal too, and getting 5 goals at the Donetsk stadium was a brilliant performance. It actually helps them, progressing in the group. So after that shock defeat against Sheriff in a couple of weeks ago too, so it's given Real Madrid a lot of confidence, and I think it'll help them progressing towards the next round, towards the next stage of the tournament.
Well, no matter what you do, Benzema's still going to score anyway. So they got 5 goals, but good to see that Benzema got the last one of them.
We're talking about Salah, as Ali mentioned, he thinks he's the best player in the world. Benzema, Lewandowski, Salah, these are the kind of players that are all in that same category. Benzema, I think, is a very, very underrated player. Even though we are rating him so highly, that's still not enough of the amount of work he's done so far in his career. And I think even if you look at the first goal, it's an own goal that comes from Benzema's movement, right? The centre half is so petrified that if this ball goes behind him, which I would be terrified too if Karim Benzema was right behind me. So he's stretched for it and he's looped it over his own keeper, and that's just what he does. And then obviously he was going to get a goal. There's no doubt. I think he's now tied for fourth in Real Madrid's all-time top scorers, and in my opinion, he'll probably break Di Stefano's third-place record, and he has a chance to beat Raul. He's not going to catch Cristiano at 450, but he will probably get to third or second. So he is an incredible player, and it's good to see him getting that, becoming the star, now that Ronaldo's gone.
No, I think Benzema is an extremely underrated player. He's done very well. Let's not forget, a few weeks ago he won the UEFA Nations League. He won the best goal of the tournament. He was extremely well. After a poor Euro 2020, they actually bounced back and did very well, and he was the prime reason they won that. And then yesterday he shows, and he's been doing very well ever since Ronaldo. He's actually taken the baton, he's taken the torch, done extremely well. His movement has increased. He's scoring all sorts of goals, headers, acrobatic goals, good linkage with the other players too. So I think Benzema is a very underrated player, and if they are going to win some trophies this season, it's going to be because of Benzema.
Well, that's a very particular thing that you mentioned, that after the departure of Ronaldo, unlike Barcelona, who when they lost Messi completely, I think, deteriorated, Madrid have managed to hang on to their glory that they've enjoyed.
I think Madrid as a team they're perhaps not the Galacticos that they were in the early 2000s and with Ronaldo and stuff, when they were buying big name players as well. But they've still got some great players. They've still got Modric, they've still got Kroos, Valverde is an up-and-coming superstar. He's already performed very admirably for them. And then you've got Karim Benzema, who was he was playing a different role when Ronaldo was there, but he's still getting goals, still helping out with assists. And now that he's your main goal threat, he's still delivering. So Real Madrid as a team, they're not so much like Barcelona where they need to play just one system and they need to find the players to play that one system. They'll adapt. Real Madrid will adapt. They'll get the big names. They'll get good players. Their academy will produce. I don't think the academy gets enough credit. This academy has been running for even last century. They were producing players. There was one, I think, Copa del Rey final in the last century, which was literally Real Madrid's academy versus Real Madrid. So they always produce players and they'll buy what they need. So Real Madrid will be okay.
Will be okay. Sabeel and Mehdi, thank you so much for joining us on the show. That's all we have time for this edition of Sports Extra. Until next time, it's goodbye for now.